This is Trudy Hughes at the System Office. I want to introduce Glenna Osborne. She's with Teach, and we've worked together for a number of years on T-Step, other initiatives. She does Link It, and she also does Work Together and See, and I can't even list all of the other things that Glenna has been involved in. And then we also have with us later today, Jacqueline Bowler. She is with Work Together and See, and she's going to talk about that initiative. So Glenna, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Great,
thank
you.
And we can't see your slides.
You can't.
Can.
You can. Awesome. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. I'm glad to be here. I've been working in this transition to adulthood place with folks with autism for many years. I worked for the UNC Teach Autism program. And we are continuing to work on initiatives to help students and their families, as well as those of us who work with them, to learn more and to improve on what we're doing. And this is one of our more recent efforts. I am going to tell you about a set of modules that we've created at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. And I want to say, too, that Sherry Murner, who is out of the School of Social Work, spearheaded this program and just pulled me along, and I got to serve as a consultant. We were putting this together. And I also want to say that this is available to anyone. And I will show you how to access it after I tell you all about it, and hopefully encourage you to be interested in learning more about it. So it's called Changing Attitudes, Fostering Inclusion and Belonging for Neurodivergent University Students. And it was really designed to help the faculty and the staff, as well as practicum instructors, task supervisors, preceptors, staff and faculty throughout our college campuses to better understand neurodiversity, and also to really think about how we can make changes within our campus. So we're looking even at a broader level, not just in our classrooms and in our clinic spaces or our welcoming spaces across campus, but or that we actually work in, but also just the environments across campus to make those more welcoming, more calm.
Glenna, you're muted.
Oh my goodness. Okay,
there you go.
Thank you.
Now you're good.
Thank you so much. I was going on and on. Okay, so sorry. Okay, let's start this all over again. I just wanted to say that I'm happy to be here, and sorry
we
about
got that part. Just start from how they the description and.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I got muted. So I got muted in the middle of what I was saying?
Yeah.
That's weird. Okay, who knows? Maybe when I changed over to this slide. So okay, description wise, yes, that could have been it. This was put together as an opportunity to really help the faculty and staff across the college campuses to learn more about how we can support neurodivergent students, and not only in our spaces, our individual spaces where we may teach or where we may be supporting students, but also across campus. What are some things that we can do? So there are some very specific, what can you do in your space, as well as, hey, what can you do across campus to support neurodivergent students, to help them to feel more welcome and comfortable, and to make our environments more accessible for them. It's also what we've also done in this set of information is that we have posed some of the questions that people might have about neurodivergent students on campus. We really want to reduce stigma for these students, and also have everyone who may have questions about the differences or what the expectations are or behaviors that might seem unusual. We really want to answer those questions as well. So that is the purpose. Okay, and let me see, hopefully I won't mute myself again while I do this. I will check and make sure that doesn't happen, but I'm using external screen and my laptop, and so I'm not as savvy when I have all my equipment up. Okay, so videos. There are 3 different distinct videos, and the first video is all about introductions to neurodiversity and talking about what it looks like in higher education. And there's information to talk about definitions, to talk about different kinds of neurodiversity. It's packed full of information. Really, again, thinking about the college campuses, so research that's related to college campuses. Part 2 is about getting a deeper dive into those neurodivergent identities and their characteristics. Some of the specific ones that are more further explored in this module are autism, ADHD, and dyslexia, as well as thinking about individuals who have a dual diagnosis. And maybe we know that's really common in the autism realm, is that folks often have autism and ADHD, or autism and a mental health diagnosis. So it looks at all those differences and how that impacts learning. And then in part 3, the emphasis is on supporting inclusion and access. Again, thinking about individual settings, but primarily in this module, we're looking at more campus-wide opportunities as well. And this module actually gets into specific resources. The specific resources in this module are aligned with the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, but there is discussion of how there are similar resources, such as disability and accessibility services across all college campuses. So we still feel like this module is helpful for all college campuses. Okay. So these are the learning objectives for the modules. The idea is that we want folks to be able, again, to understand some of the terms that they may hear and are used in the information, and to really understand what that means in the university setting. We want folks to be able to better understand these different identities and diagnostic criteria. We really want to talk about ableism. That might be a word that you're hearing more and more of, but I know that it's really taken me a while to spend time with it and better understand what it means on a day-to-day basis. So these modules are intended to help with that, and think about that on a day-to-day basis for our students, what that means. And then we're going to look at evidence-based strategies to support students in our spaces, as well as thinking about campus-wide opportunities again, and the resources. So those are the objectives that we set out to do it, and I think you'll see information to support each of these objectives in the modules. When you go onto the site, I want you to know, I'm going to give you a QR code and a link, but I want you to see what you're going to see so that you'll know that you can log in. So you're going to see this login. If you happen to be associated with the UNC Chapel Hill system and have a login, you can certainly log in the blue light blue box where it says UNC Chapel Hill login. If you have what we call a UNC Onion, which is our email. Otherwise, just go to the gray boxes where it says non-UNC login, and you can go down to create an account. We're not going to bug you if you create a new account. You can just create a new account for this set of modules. That is totally fine. You will see that it is set up as an online self-paced course, and you can get CE credits for going through the course. So that's a really nice thing that we've been able to offer. If you need CE credits for whatever reason, this will give you 1.5 CE credits. And again, it's free of charge. It may at some point be something that we have to charge for. So we're making sure we let folks, that we're telling folks that just in case that may happen, but we have not received information that we need to do that yet. But that might just be encouragement to go ahead and do the modules. this is the information, as I said, that you will see. So as you start the modules, they're all videotape information. There are some activities, there are some scenarios where you will be asked questions and get to participate in thinking about what a good answer would be for the different scenarios. As you see, it's set up again in the 3 parts so that you can do one part at a time and set it up that way for yourself. There is, again, information to help you to know if you've already gone through one part and answer the questions. It'll just help you continue to move along. So it's set up, I think, in a pretty user-friendly way. This is an example of the questions that are asked at the end so that you'll know kind of what that looks like. I know sometimes people hear that there's going to be a test at the end and there's a little bit of discomfort with that, but it is quite simple. If you've paid attention, if you know a bit about neurodiversity, then you're going to be fine. And of course, if you don't get the questions right the first time, you can take another chance at the questions, as a lot of our online quote unquote tests are like. But just to let you know what that post test looks like and what it involves. I also wanted to share that, as I mentioned at the end, there is a link to a set of resources it's a PDF file that you can look into. And there are resources that are specific, again, to the UNC Chapel Hill campus, but also there are a lot of resources that we feel like can be helpful across college campuses. There are links to webinars, there are links to PDFs, there are definitions, just a broad range of information that we feel like can be helpful for a variety of people in the college field. So as you see here, there's information about the American with Disabilities Act, the ADA law. So folks working in career services might find this helpful, just a variety of resources. And we do try to think about all the different arms, if you will, of the community college campuses and provide resources for different departments within the college campuses. So you'll see that across this resource. It's several pages long. Feel free to download it, share it, print it out, share it with students, share it with other colleagues, just whatever you think would be helpful. Here is some more information from that set of resources. As I mentioned, there are neurodiversity readings. There are links you can click on. We also looked at some other identities which are often associated with neurodiversity, and that is LGBTQ plus identities, so that you'll find some information about that. You'll find some autism-specific resources as well as some dyslexia and ADHD-specific resources. So we just think this is a wealth of information. Now, this is not something we have gone back and looked at on a frequent basis, like some of the information that Jacqueline's going to share with you on our Work Together NC site. So there is a chance you might come to a broken link. And if you would, if that happens, if you'll send us information, we will do our best to update the information on the site. But this is, we had some funding to create this, but it's not something that we support in an ongoing way. I know that's always been a frustration, I think, and that's one wonderful thing about the project that Jacqueline is going to share with you. I also just wanted to mention that this grew out of something that we created about 1.5 years ago, maybe 2 years now, actually. It always times flies. But there was a group of us who were working with neurodivergent students on the university campus and talking with each other about it and really wanting to do more. We were both doing different kinds of trainings to different parts of the university, different staff and faculty, and we were also working with different groups of students. And so we came together and created what we're calling NETC, or the Neurodiversity Education and Training Consortium. And we are still getting off the ground, but one of our first initiatives was to create this set of modules. We are now doing some different work in different spaces. This is a broad group, and I think it's been a wonderful group just for us to have bi-yearly meetings to discuss what we're doing in our different spaces and to share information. Right now I'm working on a project with the university LGBTQ plus group where we are looking at better understanding students who align with identities, neurodiversity identity and LGBTQ plus identity, and just making sure that we have services provided for them. That was an initiative, again, that grew out of this group when the LGBTQ plus group approached us in neurodiversity and said, hey, we think, we've got students who really align with both identities, and can we do something together? So we've already had a evening activity where students got together, and we're also going to do an online activity coming up. But just, again, it's just provided a space for people to get together and talk about opportunities. And if a group was doing some sort of a student opportunity, hey, come in and let's have a neurodivergent group of people to talk about that identity at this gathering that we're having. So it's just, again, been a really nice opportunity for us to share information and to use our what we can all bring to the table to further our reach of supporting neurodivergent students. The people that are a part of the group, I thought that might be helpful to share with you in case this might be something that appeals to folks to think about doing at their on community colleges. We looked at interested staff and faculty. So folks in the Office of Disability Service or Accessibility Services were very much involved. And then there were faculty and staff who maybe they had a part of their work that involved neurodivergent students, or maybe they themselves were interested, or maybe they were neurodivergent. So there were a lot of reasons that people came to be a part of this consortium, and everybody, we feel like, has had some important input and have really helped us further our reach. We invited, when we put it together, a lot of schools and departments that we felt were spending time in this arena, the arena of neurodiversity support. But we, again, also looked beyond that. I think some of the most helpful groups too were equal opportunity and compliance and student conduct, because once we pulled in those folks, we found that yes, they felt like they could benefit from being a part of this group and learning more, because they were seeing students again in their work and sometimes unclear about the best ways to support them. And then another group that we invited that we felt, a set of folks we invited that we felt have been really helpful are the training departments and the education departments, personal development groups representing the college, marketing, et cetera. So those groups have been wonderful because they've really helped us create the modules and then spread the word about the modules. So our reach has definitely been bolstered by inviting and having the education and training departments be a part of this consortium. So the last slide that I have before I'll take some questions, if there are any, is just for you guys to grab this QR code. And I can also send this. I can send this to Trudy to have and send out to all of you if you are unable to use it right now for any reason. But This is for the resources document, which should also take you to the modules. So any questions or comments? We're always welcome to ideas if you guys are doing something on some of your campuses.
Feel free to unmute yourself if you have questions. I'm also monitoring the chat if you want to put it in the chat if you don't want to speak out loud. But Glenna has a couple more minutes before she has to get to a class. So she's a very busy woman. Now's your chance.
If it would help too, Trudy, feel free to share my email. I'm glad if folks have a question afterward or having problems with the QR code or anything like that to answer questions or provide support if you're interested in, again, thinking about a group at in your space.
I will put it in the chat.
Thank you. Looks like folks may be all good. Hopefully they're getting information that will be helpful. And again, you can, thank you everyone for being here. And please do share this beyond this group. Share it with other sites that aren't here, community colleges, colleagues, we feel like the more we can share this, there are more folks who will feel comfortable and confident in supporting our students and the better support we can provide across the board. Sure.
Well, thank you, Glenna. You did a fantastic job. So we'll head it over now to Jacqueline.
Okay, take care, everyone.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Jacqueline Bohealer, and I coordinate a project that is based out of Teach Autism program, but it is a statewide, federally funded initiative. And we are focused on the transition to and through adulthood for folks with intellectual and developmental disabilities. I'm going to try to focus my talk today on resources that specifically support higher education or may be applicable to person-centered planning processes, but also happy to take a broader view if that's helpful. So first, I just want to orient you all to the website in case you have not been on it yet. Work Together has really aimed to consolidate resources for people with disabilities and their families into one place. So having a searchable service library is one of those things that we have been able to create. Here you can search for services based on what county the individual lives in, and look for programs or organizations that might be able to meet their needs, whether it's in the area of employment services or post-secondary education or daily living supports. And then when you click a service, it's going to give you kind of a quick glimpse description of what it is, who's eligible, if there's a cost associated, and the phone number. So this could just be a nice way to offer referrals for anything that might be outside of the scope of how you support students in your role. Another thing that I wanted to bring to everyone's attention is our resource library. So we have resources that are sorted by audience here, including for service providers. And then you can also view our full library of resources by clicking this Find All Resources tab. And again, you can narrow it down by audience here, but resources, the way that we define them, are more informational. So it's not like you're directly interacting with a professional like services are. And you can see, you can really hone it in based on what type of resource you're looking for, whether you're looking for resources in Spanish, for example, or maybe a video, and then a lot of different topic areas pertaining to supporting adulthood right here. And then similarly, here's a money management tool. When I click on this, it'll tell you what is this resource and how can it be practically utilized. So that's just good to know about. Another thing that I wanted to show you all is our action planning tool. So action plans are customizable checklists that can be used by individuals and their service providers and family members. And these are all about making a plan for one's adult life goals. So we do have a bunch of different topics here. This bucket of topics is about what opportunities are available after high school. We've got an action plan on employment, post-secondary education, housing and community living. These are around making sure the transition to adulthood goes smoothly. So here we have topics like healthcare, service navigation in adulthood, financial well-being, transportation. IEP wouldn't be relevant to you all since we're past that at this point. And then making choices. So we have action plans on self-advocacy and supported decision-making. So I would say the ones that are probably most relevant to all of your scope of work would be the employment action plan, since I assume you all are supporting people toward their employment goals and making sure their higher education plans align with that, as well as our post-secondary education action plan. Some of what's in here is related to planning to go to college. However, there are some items for folks who are in college. So finding resources in post-secondary education, we have a bucket of items on that. And the way that you would complete an action plan is you check off which items are going to be helpful for that individual based on their interests, based on their goals. And then upon completion, you will be able to add any items that are personal to that student in this empty box right here. You'll note that each item has an approximate age for when it should be completed. That's, just a general guidance, but of course, everyone's on their own timeline. And then also it's listed who can help. So is it the individual? Is it the EIPD counselor? So we try to be specific there. And then you can also put in your email address or perhaps the student's email address in here. And that way it will go directly to their inbox when you submit it. And once you submit the checklist, you will get a customized version that only has the items that you selected. And you'll see that some monitoring tools pop up, and these are just some nice trackers to use to be able to monitor progress over time and potentially make pivots if needed. So that is our action planning tool. It is available in a variety of different formats. So in addition to the customizable checklist, we also have, they're kind of like social stories about each topic area that can kind of help orient to the big picture of what that topic is and what are some of the readiness steps involved in planning in that area. And hopefully there's some nuggets here that can be nice takeaways from the action plan. And then we also have a video version of each action plan that is,
if you're an introvert,
pretty engaging and follows a character. It's the same storyline as that comic that I showed, but essentially just kind of hits on the key highlights or main takeaways from that more detailed checklist. All right, so yes, this is our action plan tool. The other thing that I'll just bring to all of your awareness is we do have a network of inclusive employers, if that's of any interest. This is a certification program for employers where we can get them recognized for their efforts in employing people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. The program essentially involves taking a 2-hour course that is self-paced, completely free on our website, and then applying for recognition upon completion of the course. And you can see here the various employers who have taken the course and applied for that recognition. So we always appreciate all of your help spreading the word about this program in your local employer networks. All right. And then finally, our events calendar is a great way to find different professional development or outreach opportunities. We have work together and see specific events listed here, as well as community events. These are webinars, conferences, and different resource fairs that are relevant for this population. Right, and one more thing that I want to show you all is our toolkits. So we do have a couple of different toolkits. These are essentially like interactive worksheets that track through the key milestones of finding a job for the employment toolkit or going to college for the post-secondary education toolkit. But again, even if one is already in college, there is some useful information in here. For post-secondary education, we have a college life page where folks can think about what aspects of extracurriculars they might want to get involved with, or perhaps they're planning for transitioning to a university, and it could be helpful to think about some of these things: internships, student life, paying for college, some various options specific to people with disabilities. And then I know we also have a section that is around accessing accommodations and disability services. Some accessibility tools listed. Oops. Right. And our employment toolkit looks very similar, but it involves, at first it starts with some like strengths and skills inventories, identifying your learning style, communication style. So these could be some nice kind of assessment tools that might inform accommodations. And we have some more exploration of different types of work, interests, a job search template, section on entrepreneurship, and it goes into, let's see, how to access services from EIPD, and identifying that potentially informal support network as well. This section provides information on internships, apprenticeships, volunteering, post-secondary education. We've actually got a lot of great internship programs in the state to refer out to. And of course, we Think College wherever we can. We've got community colleges site listed here. Right. And then we also have some assessments around preferences in the work environment and logistics. So thinking about things like transportation, person environment fit. And you'll see that at the end of every worksheet, and this is across all toolkits, there's kind of like a summary one-pager that can be used and perhaps compiled into a portfolio. When I work with students, oftentimes I will just get a binder for them and have them put these one-pagers in sheet protectors, and that could be a really nice tangible resource about the individual to provide to a future employer or job coach or other service provider. Right. And then finally, this goes through resumes, cover letters, some different templates are linked in here. Job search sites, including both traditional disability specific ones, and a first day on the job checklist. So, that is the gist of what Work Together NC is, but I'm happy to dive in further to anything that really sparked your interest or seemed really aligned with all of your scope of work, and also happy to answer any questions.
There is a question by Barbara. Do you all have any types of handouts or flyers that we can share with students?
Actually, I'm glad you asked because we have a new flyer packet that can be given to community partners, including you all, that advertises or promotes all of our different resources, including the action plan and employer alliance, all those things. So I'm going to go ahead and paste that flyer collection in the chat. Feel free to distribute those flyers at resource fairs, put them on bulletins, email them.
Perfect. Thank you, Jacqueline.
I'll also go ahead and paste our distribution blurbs in case you all have any newsletters or just want to send out a mass email about this tool. We've got some nice copy and pastable blurbs for you all.
Any other questions? Again, you can unmute yourself if you have questions, or you can type it in the chat. You get a lot of thank yous.
Great, I'm glad it's helpful.
Well, Jacqueline, I want to thank you so much for presenting this excellent information. You always do a fantastic job maneuvering through the site, and it looks like a lot of people appreciate what you shared today.
Great, thank you so much for having me.
Well, if there are no other questions, we'll give back time. And again, Jacqueline, thank you. And everybody, thank you for attending this webinar. And I hope you learned a lot, because I know I always do. So have a great day.
Thank you.
You.